Welcome to the Spiritual Series podcast, and we're back with another episode. And we're going to be discussing. We're going to start a new chapter after a
Yes.
very very long time, and it's going to be the first verse. And yeah, in the infamous speech.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Jai
Hare
Srila
Krishna, Jai Krishna, Jai
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
This 10th chapter, it's called The Opulence of the Absolute. And the Sanskrit for this is Vibhuti Yoga. So Vibhuti basically means opulences. And yoga, as we know from previous discussions, means to connect. So in a sense, in this chapter, Krishna is trying or is going to increase our faith and devotion by helping us connect even more with him through revealing his opulences, because sometimes it also helps if you become more and more impressed by somebody to get to respect and love them more. So this a little bit comparison has been drawn to in the Old Testament, where the Jews, they see a burning bush, and if I got my facts right, the bush never stops burning. They understand that this is like a great miracle and there is a supreme power behind it. That's God, their father. Then when the Jews are again being harassed, and they have the Egyptian soldiers behind them pushing them into the sea, the Red Sea actually parts into two to help them escape and survive that kind of holocaust. So it's again, they are convinced that there's a great power behind it. So this is God's way of showing through opulences, of impressing and helping his followers to surrender more and more. The only difference is in that Christian tradition, there is no attempt or no way to actually find a personal God eventually. Whereas Krishna is saying right at the beginning in his first and second verses, this opulence of the absolute, Vibhuti Yoga, that's all there. It's going to come. A lot of his opulences he is going to show or he's going to describe. But right at the start, he says, to know him personally, to see him and to know him as a personal human God, it requires special mercy and special surrender. No amount of knowledge and no amount of power and no amount of just being impressed by the opulences is going to get you there. So if you can increase the size of this verse on the screen, or otherwise I will
Yeah,
call
yeah.
up. Yeah, yeah,
Can you see it?
yeah. Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Vanuvacha Bhuya Eva
Bhuya Eva
Mahabaho
Mahabho
Rino
Shranu
Me Param
Me Paramam
Vachaha
Vachaha
Yatte
Yatte
Ham
Ham
Priyamanaya
Priyamanaya
Vakshami
Vakshyami
Hitakamyaya
Again, Shri Bhagavanu
Sri Bhagavan
Vacha
Vacha Bhuya Eva Mahabaho
Mahabaho
Aho
Shranu
Shrinu
Me
Me
Paramam Vacha
Paramavacha Yatte
Yatteham
Ham Priyamanaya
Naya
Vakshami Hitakamyaya
Vakshyamaya. Once more, last time. Shri
Sri
Bhagavanu
Bhagavanu Vacha
Vacha
Bhuya Eva Mahabaho
Mahabaho Shranu Me
Me Paramam
Vacha
Vacha
Yatte
Yatteham Priyamanaya
Vakshya.
Vakshami Hitakamyaya.
Okay, please read the translation. The Supreme. Yeah.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Listen again, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend. For your benefit, I shall speak to your father. Please speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained."
All right. So it's like increasing. It's from the ninth chapter was the most confidential knowledge, and now in the 10th, there's like a connection. The ninth chapter ended with a verse which said manmana bhava madbhakto, that is, just become my devotee, give your mind to me, think of me, engage your mind, give your body to me by worshipping me and doing devotional service. Now, to enhance that mood and to make that possible, in the 10th chapter he is going to describe a lot of his opulences, but he makes it clear that this is especially for Arjuna, because Arjuna is a very dear friend. For your benefit, I shall give you even. So, this friendship and loving dealings with the Lord seem to be an absolute must if he is going to reveal more and more of himself to the bhakta, or if he is going to allow the bhakta to get to know and to realize his greatness and his dependability more and more. So here the purport, the word Bhagavan is explained thus by Parashar Muni. Very early in our Bhagavad Gita studies, we talked about the different Aishwaryas of the Bhagavan. That is a different opulences. Another word for opulence is Aishwarya, the different powers of Bhagavan. And if you remember, there were 6 opulences and 6 qualities, if you like. And as it says here, Bhagavan is one who has in full quantity. What does he have? Strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. These are the 6. Now, individuals, as ordinary human beings, depending on our fortune and our abilities and our destiny, also may have a lot of this. They will. Some people have extra strength. Some are famous and wealthy, or they are famous because they are wealthy, like we know with Bill Gates and Anand Mahindra and so on. Or somebody may have knowledge, someone has beauty and renunciation. That's a little more difficult, but there are people who are extremely renounced and they are admired because, gosh, they can be so untouched by material pulls and desires. So this already it has been given that Bhagavan is like we say Bhagavan is that individual or that personality who's got these 6 opulences in full, 6 qualities in full. Please read on from there. While Krishna was present on this earth.
While Krishna was present on this earth, he displayed all 6 opulences. Therefore, great sages like Parashara Muni have all accepted Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. Now, Krishna is instructing Arjuna in more confidential knowledge of his opulences and his work. Previously, beginning with the 7th chapter, the Lord has already explained his different energies and how they are active. Now, in this chapter, he explains the specific opulences to Arjuna. In the previous chapter, he has clearly explained his different energies to establish devotion in firm conviction. Again, in this chapter, he tells Arjuna about his manifestations at various opulences.
Okay, hold on. Let's just take a look at how Krishna actually has displayed these opulences at different times when he was playing out his pastimes on this earth. Because it says here, let's start with just full strength, sure. Because even as a young child, he showed his strength in overpowering different demons. Full fame. Can you think of anything even from the Bhagavatam where his fame drew people to come looking for him?
Could it be? I mean, I was just reading just recently. I was listening to that, reading the story of how, but I don't know if that's the one with Jarasandha keeps trying to attack him, but that's not the thing.
Yeah. I guess each time he destroys, he overpowers a demon, his fame only increases.
Yeah, yeah. So
Isn't it?
every time he kills a demon, people keep coming. Yeah.
He
I was thinking
establishes.
more. I was
Yeah.
thinking more like how everybody like is yelling Krishna's name in Vrindavan whenever there's like a tragedy or what happened.
Correct,
So
correct. They are
something like that.
constant. They're
Yeah.
constantly remembering him, even so many years later,
Yeah.
even when he was on this earth. Okay, all right. Wealth, meaning at a
Hmm.
drop of a hat, he could create what he chose to, and that uh, he was not personally attached to that wealth, but it is said um, the palaces in Dwaraka city itself, the opulence and wealth it indicated, which later went under the sea, as is believed and as archaeologists are now digging out and establishing. So wealth, yes, that is still even in the Bhagavatam when Krishna walks into Dwaraka, the description of the balconies and the jewel studded and so on. And all right, knowledge, well, from the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, which in both of which he speaks, the knowledge that he is imparting to his followers, it's obvious. Beauty, beauty, it's, I told you there is, he is known as those especially 3
Hmm.
qualities: Venu Madhurya, Rupa, 4, Venu Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya, Leela Madhurya, and the 4th one, 4 special qualities that make him irresistible. Venu is
Yes.
because his flute. Okay, it's just the sound that the flute makes people go crazy. Those who have had that experience of hearing the flute. Rupa Madhurya is because he's just formed when they do get vision of him, so beautiful. Leela Madhurya, his pastimes are so sweet. Krishna Madhurya, the fourth one, I'm not sure, but there's a fourth quality like that. Which, anyway, basically it means that even his beauty and renunciation, uh,
Yeah, they're
he,
saying it's Leela Madhuri, Prema Madhurya,
a
Deva
prema
Madhuri, Rupa
Prema.
Madhuri.
I forgot that. Prema Madhuri or Madhurya, meaning
Hmm.
the intensity of the love that he feels for his devotees and that he can draw out. These things make him irresistible. These four qualities, special qualities that he, more than any other god, is endowed with. Therefore, and then his renunciation. Renunciation, actually, it is said that he is full in renunciation. He does not depend on, he is not attached to any of the opulences that he is seen with. He is not attached in the sense he's king of Dwaraka. He's got these so many wives, princesses. He's got, he can call up any kind of military strength, wealth, assets, but he is completely detached from it because he is very much like a yogi. He is
Hmm.
completely renounced from it because he is a supreme personality. So, therefore, great sages like Parashar Muni have all accepted Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. Now, Krishna is instructing Arjuna in more. Yeah, just read this. Okay, please read the next paragraph.
Yeah.
The more one.
So the more one hears about the Supreme God, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service. One should always hear about the Lord in the association of devotees. That will enhance one's devotional service. Discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. Others cannot take part in such discourses. The Lord clearly tells Arjuna that because Arjuna is very dear to him, for his benefit, such discourses are taking place.
Okay, here we are being told clearly that discourses about the Lord can take place only in the society of devotees. And amongst, and Srila Prabhupada is using a very strange word, a very powerful word, can only take place amongst those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. And normally, anxiety has negative connotation, right? Like you're really worried that the phone bill is very high this time, or
Yeah.
something didn't get cleared, or you're going to miss a deadline, or you have to find another job, like that. But anxious, it's very interesting use of the word, to be in Krishna consciousness. Others cannot take part. The point here, in a different lecture, Srila Prabhupada says is, Krishna is himself very anxious that his followers and bhaktas don't get lost and don't get misled and
Mm.
don't miss the opportunity to go back to him. That is why he's so forgiving, and that's why he made Arjuna declare in the previous chapter that my devotee will never perish, no matter even if he does some
Mm.
horrible act, and then he comes back on track, because he is so anxious that we must get out of this material cycle and go back to him to enjoy leelas with him in the spiritual world. So that anxiety is reflected in those special devotees who sense this. That just like a parent maybe is very anxious that the child has not come home, the tuition should have got
Mm.
over, or like that. And some children get irritated and say, why is mom always worrying about me, and why is dad always at the gate? I told you clearly I'll be back. But some other children who are more mature pick up the concern and care in the sentiments shown by the parent, and may reciprocate, and may also be equally anxious not to give the parents difficulty, and not to bring a bad name, and not to do anything that will bring shame. That's
I
rare.
was I was never like that. Growing up, I was always trying to, get late or
You
so always
see,
ask my parents why you waiting? Don't wait. No, I'll come next day for something. That's growing up.
most of us don't appreciate their concern, but later when we look back, or we have children of our own, like my cousin and your father's cousin Uttam was telling me, now when he looks back, so much agony he caused his mother, who is no more, Krishnamai, she passed away. could have been avoided. And he was specifically talking, because talking about the swimming pool, the Jimmy George swimming pool here. And he says those days the swimming pool was not even so well organized. And we are talking about White Plug. He's little more than 60. So we're talking about maybe 45 years ago when he was a teenager. And he could go swimming. He was allowed. He was in a local school, but the mom would say 6 o'clock you have to be home. Those were the days before mobile phones and WhatsApp and whatnot. And he says he would never be home by 6. Somehow he would make it a point, or it would work out. He'd be home by 6:30, 6:15. There was poor mom, very anxious, waiting at the gate, looking down this whole road, seeing if he can. Because those days, I don't think there were even bikes or cycles. I don't know. He maybe got off a bus and walked back up this road. So she says, wondering maybe he's gone and smashed his skull by trying to die, which is his nature, to always overdo and do these heroic things. So when he looks back, he says so much agony, he could have spared her. But we don't realize it until we have children, or like he has a daughter, Chinu. And so for Krishna, coming back to the spiritual context, for Krishna is always so anxious. Very few of us are reciprocate with that anxiety and say, no, I don't want to do this wrong thing. I'm tempted, but I'm not going to do it because this may land me in some big further mess. I need to work on my nature because I'm always making this blunder, and that is not what Krishna is expecting. So it is this anxiety, and anxious is the use of a very strange and unusual word in this purport here. Okay. Now just we can try just one more verse quickly, and then, or at least start the verse and then wind up, so that, because by then it will be 6:15. Okay, second verse. Name
vidu
suragana
suraganaha
prabhavam
prabhavam na maharshayah aham adirihi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah.
Twice more. Name
Name vaduha
suragana
suraganaha
prabhavam
prabhavam
nama
na maharshayah aham adirihi
aham
devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Name viduhu saraganaha prabhavam na maharshayah aham adirihi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah.
Okay, translation, please.
Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulence. For in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages.
Okay, so here it is a very kind of somewhat shocking statement to say neither the demigods, we, as far as we know, like they rule the heavenly planets and they are special beings, not the great sages who are in this Janaloka, Taparloka, Maharloka, sages like Bhrigu and so on, who are so deeply into meditation, know my origin or opulence. Doesn't mean that they don't know anything about Krishna. That's not what he's saying. They don't really know him fully and know his origin. Of why? Because Krishna is saying he is the source of these people, these personalities. That's interesting, because it is like saying, you go back and you trace it back, and this will tell us how original creation, and how from Brahma, and from the mind of Brahma come the 7 rishis, the Sapta rishis, and then the Sapta rishis marry the Prajapatis, and then comes Manu, and the daughters of Manu marry the Sapta rishis, and then there is progeny and procreation. So if it all goes back to the Supreme Lord, how can these people be expected to know something that came before them? You see, I cannot be I can go back up to my great grandfather, this Sami Apupan, this the one who took sannyas, your great grandfather also. But if you go beyond that, we can't know, because they came much before us. So he's saying this, but the subtext in this particular verse is, now the sages, they represent, the demigods represent lot of wealth, and the sages represent power through their austerity and their renunciation and their knowledge, the sages. But even that is not good enough to know Krishna fully in his real form as a lovable personal God, unless he chooses to reveal that to those who have these strong feelings and love for him. That is what basically this poet is going to tell us. But it's too much to get into today, so we'll have to stop here, Kanan, and get back to
Yeah.
this verse next class. Okay?
Okay.
Because I have my to help out here with the domestic issues. Then